Welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Alex Cologne, this is Sasha Segan, and today we're going to talk about the top 3 news stories of the day, answer one of your questions, and show you one cool thing from the PCMag labs. So let's start with our first topic, which is E3 officially started today, but the news, tons of news has already been coming out of it. So do you want to talk about some of the highlights, Sasha?
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of big press conferences already. Microsoft, EA, Sony all had their press conferences. And really the theme of this year's E3 is games. As we said on the show yesterday, the consoles are out, and now we're seeing the game announcements for those consoles. So in terms of Sony, that includes Uncharted 4, Thief's End, Little Big Planet 3, Destiny. They are opening up a beta of a streaming system called PS Now, which lets PS4 owners stream older PS3 games through the internet. And then Microsoft announced a whole bunch of Xbox One exclusives. Fable Legends, Sunset Overdrive, and of course the absolutely wonderfully named Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha. I don't even know how that's going to display on the Xbox One screen. Is it going to have to like scroll across?
It's going to have to wrap around.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be multiple lines. But yeah, so what we're seeing right now is just the gaming industry filling in. They've had these consoles for a year now, and the real battle begins in terms of which one has the exclusive games you want to play.
And we're also going to see PlayStation Vita TV, rebranded as PlayStation TV, coming to the US.
Yeah, and that's going to bring all sorts of other Sony games onto your TV. I mean, one of the big things Sony is doing right now, and I guess Microsoft's doing it too, but it's a bigger problem for Sony, is figuring out how to take all of their semi-incompatible platforms, you know, and put them in one so that someone has access to the entire Sony universe, and that's going to be one of their big challenges this year.
And I'm sure we'll be hearing more E3 news as the week goes on. So let's move into our second story, which is that Facebook yesterday accidentally released their Slingshot messaging app, which looks like it's a Snapchat competitor.
Yeah, well, Slingshot has a twist. It has a unique twist, which is that if you take a picture and send it to a friend, they have to send you a picture back before you can view their picture. Now, there's various ways of, I mean, it's obviously easy to cheat on that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be sending, pictures of their hands. But it is an interesting little twist, and like on Snapchat, once you swipe a file away, it's gone. Also, like on Snapchat, there are probably 300 ways to get around that and, permanently save the images. But it does show that Facebook is still kind of pushing into these independent apps. Like they had Paper a while ago. Now they're, they snapped out Facebook Messenger into its own app, and now they have this image messaging app.
And Facebook didn't actually mean to release it to the App Store yesterday, so they actually took it back down, and I think it's coming out again next week. And still no version for Android yet, though.
Yeah, I find that really frustrating. The vast majority of smartphones in the world are Android, and for a company not to go Android with its initial release just shows a total blindness to that market.
All right, let's move into our next story, which is it's Honeywell. They are finally challenging Nest with their own connected thermostat called the Lyric.
Yeah, you're going to have to talk about this, Alex. I'm not even convinced that these are a real thing. I mean, I have literally, I've been reading about these, connected thermostats and stuff. I have literally never seen a single one of these in the wild in a home of any actual live human who is not, a connected home demonstrator that I know in my life.
So I think you need to realize one thing. We live in New York City.
Yes.
So, I mean, in my apartment, there would certainly be no way for me to ever be able to install a connected home device.
Okay.
That could be, swaying, what you're seeing.
Okay.
But yeah, that said, I mean, I don't know if there are as many of them out there as we're seeing announcements for new products.
Okay, so why is this important? Why is this good?
So this is cool. So whereas the Nest uses a motion sensor to determine whether or not you're in the room, this actually uses geofencing. So as you approach your home, it will automatically, turn the thermostat up, turn it down. And then I think Honeywell, they have 2 different settings. One is 500 feet away, one is 7 miles away. So it'll turn on and off depending on where you are, which they think that those are 2 sort of optimal ways to tell if you're approaching the house or if you're actually far away from it. You could use it with multiple smartphones throughout your home. And it's available today with contractors. It's coming out to Lowe's stores in August.
Yeah, there's one other thing I want to point out, which is that Honeywell is one of Apple's initial HomeKit partners.
Right, that is true.
So yeah, so if you are an iPhone or iPad user, and you are one of these mysterious people who buys a connected thermostat who I've never met, then this is probably going to be the model for you.
Right. So let's move on to our question. And this is Sai asks via email, are there any detachable 2-in-1s where the processor is in the keyboard rather than the display, and the display is just a very light WiDi enabled panel?
Now, I'm not entirely sure what use case he has here. I think he's just curious about the technology. But okay, so there have been a couple of keyboard computers, like the Asus E keyboard, which have come out over the past like 5 years or so, that do connect wirelessly to a separate display. Usually, it's supposed to be a TV, because it's usually supposed to be this keyboard that you sit on your lap and you do some computing on your TV. But there's no reason it couldn't also connect to some other WiDi-enabled panel. But in general, people like to use tablets independently of the keyboard. So in almost all cases, the processing is in the tablet part, not the keyboard part. And when you look at 2-in-1s, convertibles, detachables, the processing is almost always in the tablet, so people can throw away the keyboard when they want to and just use the tablet as a tablet.
All right, now we are going to show you one cool thing. And today's cool thing has been hiding in front of you this entire episode, sort of like the last page in a highlights book. And that is the Sony Smartband. The Sony Smartband, it looks like an activity tracker, but according to Sony, it's actually a life tracker. What they mean by that is it can track activity, but it also logs other things like what music you're listening to, what books you're reading, conversations you're having, as long as you're on your connected phone. It displays all those things in an app, and using the button on the side, you can record sort of life bookmarks. Like right now, for instance, I can do this, and I will see on my phone a notification that Sasha and I were standing here at this moment. Of course, I'll have to add in a note that says that, but it's just, if you experience something and you want to remember it later, you can then sort of put this bookmark in. It also does work as an activity tracker, and the cool thing that Sasha just showed you is that the core on the inside comes out, so if you don't actually want to wear it on your wrist, you could just stick it in your pocket, and it'll still record pretty much all the same things as if you're wearing it on your wrist. I wasn't in love with the clasp on it, and I didn't really find much of a use for using the life logging activities. But that said, it's kind of interesting. It's a different take on the activity tracker, and the review should be going up soon, but we're going to give it 3 stars.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.